Hey, it's Jeremy from Jeremy.net. I am a comic book artist, writer, self publisher, and I share my creative process here with you online. If you enjoy these live streams, like to get additional bonus live streams twice a month, you can become a Patreon subscriber for as little as $2 a month. Head on over to patreon.com/Jeremy. It's patreon.com/GERIMI. If you'd like to get a free digital sketchbook, work in progress animated GIFs delivered right to your inbox, blog posts about what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what's inspiring me creatively, you can sign up for my free newsletter at substack.com/@Jeremy. And if you'd like to purchase physical copies of my comic books, or if you read digitally on Kindle, you can go to amazon.jeremy.net. That'll forward you to my Amazon author page. All right. So today, continuing with some comic book work. I know I said last week that I did not think I was going to be able to do a live stream this week, but I also said that over the next couple months, my schedule is going to be pretty crazy, and I'm going to be sort of live streaming, doing, both Patreon content and subscriber content versus, the regular live stream. It's going to be kind of catch as catch can. Schedule is going to be all over the place. But for now, I'm here, was able to show up for another Sunday, and I'm glad to see you guys. And also for any subscribers that are watching, I've got the Discord voice channel open if anyone wants to hop on. So where we are picking up is I'm working on color comps for some covers for my my next comic. I see Dylan's in the chat. Hi, Dylan. How you doing? Good to see you as always. Let's see here. So I have a couple of different, in fact, I'm going to jump back out and look at a different file because I had one cover comp sketch I was pretty happy with, which is this. It's Pandora opening the jar with, sort of monsters emerging. And I have like a tiny little thumbnail that's just colored down here. And I realized that even though this is the one that I'm leaning towards like the most in terms of my cover, what I want to do is I want to go back and take all of the cover comps that I have in terms of just ideas that I like and sort of line them up and do the same thing that I did with that first cover, where I just have little color thumbnails to study and to look at. And to be honest, as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking I feel like I should just have, unless I'm working on a comic page, I should be doing all of these in landscape. Just so it utilizes the space better and you guys can see what's going on. Let's see here. Dylan says, I'm doing well. I'm doing good. Hope you're doing well. You know what? Every day is an adventure, and I'll leave it at that. The day is not horrible. The day is okay. I'm happy to be above ground and alive. Things aren't that dire. When I say that makes it sound really, really dire. Life continues to throw curveballs, and I continue to try to respond as well as I can. But the nice thing is that I'm still able to find time to do personal artwork, and I'm able to find time to share that work with you guys, because being able to sit down and just make stuff is my happy space. It's my emotional safe space. And it's nice to have the privilege of being able to do that with you guys. And I genuinely mean that it's a privilege, because, a lot of times this creative process feels very crazy, and it feels lonely, and it feels like no one understands what drives us. Sometimes we don't even understand what drives us. It's a lot. It's real extra. And being able to just gather with fellow creatives and just sit in that extraness with you guys and be like, okay, either I'm not crazy, or if I'm crazy, we've all got that same shared type of crazy. So it is nice to be able to share that. Hang on, I'm going to mute for a second while I blow my nose. My sinuses are acting up again. So the main thing is that I just find it crazy that I struggle so much with color. And I think part of this is, that old idea of the more you know, more you realize how ignorant you truly are. And I feel like that's the problem that I am having with color, is that as I get better at composition and I get better at value, my ignorance in terms of color and how it works continues to be more apparent. And the pieces that I've done in the past that are successful pieces, but also color pieces, I feel like those successes are the result of sort of like the brash ignorance of youth, just not being afraid to just try shit, just do whatever. Um, and I think that that's kind of a fortunate thing for people to have when you're young, to just not be afraid to try crazy stuff. I'm going through and I'm looking at the other cover comps. I'm like, Jesus Christ, how many cover comps did I do? At a certain point, I need to just settle down, pick one, and go with it. Let's see here. Dylan says, I actually really love that first cover with the monster at the top left with the title above it. It looks wood blocky. And Herman's in the chat. Says, what's good, Jeremy and peeps? All is well. Hope all is well. Yeah, just hanging in there. Was able to get on today. So I thought, if anytime there's a chance for me to stick to the regular routine, I'm going to jump on it, because I know that over the next couple of months, there's going to be some Sundays that I'm going to miss. So I was like, let me just jump in and go. And and Dylan says, yes, if it's craziness, then let's be crazy together. I feel you. All right. Let me take this. And I'm actually wondering if I should just drop out these these value layers. You know what? I'll leave them, and if it turns out it's a mistake, fine, it's a mistake. I'll work around. But actually, you know what? I do see that there is a very good reason for turning those layers off, because I'm gonna have to color underneath it. So better to take this group. What I'm trying to do is just line up all of my thumbnails, my black and white thumbnails underneath, so I can just do really simple studies. So let me duplicate and flatten, so I can add this to the sheet of other thumbnails. Let's see here. And I'm thinking I'm seeing ones in here that I can get rid of. All right, let's take this group here and turn off the gray tones there. Duplicate, flatten, and let's get rid of those sketches up top. All right. I mean, at this point, I kind of need to stop throwing these extra thumbnails on there, because I think I've got like 6 cover thumbnails now if I add all this up. And take these guys, scale that down, plus this one. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times for me, the development process is a lot of just organizing thoughts, and it's just moving different pieces around, moving different sketches around. And so I've got them all sort of set up in such a way that I feel like, oh, this works for me. So let's take these plus this other set that's down here. 1, 2, whoop. Where are the other ones I was going to put up with this? So I think that the large image that's here is actually a rough draft of one of the ones. Let me move this whole set up here now so I can just focus on these top files. Yeah, my layers are starting to get messy. But I'm just trying to decide if I want to keep this large thumbnail because I feel like it's the same or relatively the same as these other ones. It's not. It's a little bit different. But considering how many thumbnails I have at this point, I really don't need to keep. I can come back to that one if I really need it. It'll still be on another layer somewhere where I can grab it. You know, and if I really wanted to make things simple on myself, I could just make the thumbnails a simple solid color with the figure in grayscale, or I could make the cover, I could reverse that where the cover is all grayscale except for the figure. Just eliminating some of the work for me. It's like I can always hear Amar's voice in the back of my head saying, "Yo, bro, you making this too complicated. You're making this too much work for yourself." And he's right. I am my own worst enemy when it comes to making art. And part of that is because I really enjoy being analytical. I enjoy problem solving, and here's the thing, I enjoy problem solving and I enjoy learning. Which means art is perfect for me because art, you constantly have to be figuring things out. There's no point at which you're done with the learning, and there's no point at which you're done problem solving. That's all art making is. I mean, yes, it is creativity, but it's creativity in the service of solving some sort of visual problem, storytelling problem, what have you. All right. Let me see if there's anything on this layer that I need to get rid of. So the point of taking all of these cover thumbnails. So, and mind you, this isn't the entire series. These are 6 different ideas I have for the cover for issue 1. I really need to stop. I thought I would just do 4 thumbnails. And I'll tell you, the top row are all of my favorites. The bottom row are sort of like my second stringers. So the top row is going to be her with the baby standing in front of a jar with monsters coming out of it. The one of just her holding the jar. And then the one of her holding the baby facing a monster. Those are like my 3 faves. And then I've got a couple of other ones here. Her running, carrying the baby while the monsters are climbing out of the jar. One of just spotlighting the jar, not even really centering a hero. And then one of her surrounded by monsters, not really having the jar. And looking at this now, going through what I just went through all there with deleting the different versions, lining these up, giving myself a chance to look at them as a whole, I can see that, and I'm only doing this for dramatic effect. I'm doing it on another layer, but I'm looking at the second string and I'm just like, nah, that top row, those are the ones, those three. So I'll have sketches of other ideas. I'm just doing this to be dramatic. I'm not going to, I'll keep the sketches around and maybe there. Why am I duplicating my X? Jesus. Um, I will keep these lower layers around just for in case I want to go back and explore those ideas in some other way visually. But for now, I'm thinking these top three are the ones that are going to be either, one of these three is going to be the main cover for issue one. And then the other ones may be variant covers or just images I may use for just promotion, what have you. Stickers, trading cards for the series, something like that. And so from here, now, after all of that back and forth, I can come back and say, all right, let me revisit color thumbnails again. And I think what I'm going to do is I am going to start with a block. I'm going to fill this with a gray, a blue gray. Move this down here and scale it down a little bit. Then let's duplicate that. Spread these out. And this is where it would be nice if Procreate had an align tool similar to Photoshop or Illustrator where I could distribute space and just boom, boom, make them equally spaced out. Now, merge all these and alpha lock them so that now if I come in here with any other color, I don't have to worry about going right to the edges. I can just, it'll keep it locked to those three frames that are in proportion of the area that I'm going to be working on. And hey, Byron's in the chat. Hey, people. Hey, Byron, how you doing? Good to see you. All right. Whoop, I did not mean to clear all of that. I meant instead to just undo the marks that I made. So what I'm doing differently here versus color thumbnails that I've done before is in the past, I was taking the artwork and just, putting it on multiply or just leaving the line art and then coloring underneath it. And what I'm trying to do now is forget about the line art altogether and just look at just simple fields of color and shape. Like I'm trying to reduce this to something even more abstract. I did a Patreon live stream last night, and in that live stream, I'll show you real quick. I have a folder for color studies, and I grabbed a bunch of comic book covers. Like these are recent covers. These are covers from the Lunar Distributor catalog and the Penguin Random House catalogs. There's some Marvel comics and some DC comics. And like here's a Frank Cho Batman cover, for instance. There's an Image comic cover, a Captain America cover with Sam Wilson. And all I did was I tried to do studies next to them, thumbnails that weren't where I forgot about drawing completely, and all I tried to do was just block in color. And I found it very informative, very educational. And now what I want to do is treat my own work the same way as the studies that I did, where now I'm going to stop looking at the drawing itself. If I can remember where I am in my files. Okay. Here, move. Oh, okay. Well, I see part of the problem is simply that my all right. If I have that, then I will remember. I'll be able to find this set of images again. All right. So now the idea is it's not about drawing, it's about overall color. So it's almost like I'm now looking at this on a really abstract art level. And let's see here. Pick some colors as ground colors for this. Yeah, it's a little too vibrant. Let's desaturate that a little bit. And the thing that is really challenging for me is that in doing this piece, I could just as easily make each version in a different color scheme. I think that's the real challenging thing here is I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, all right, I've got like one set of colors. But let's say, I make the one on the far right in the green color scheme, and it turns out that, and even as I'm looking at this, I'm thinking that maybe this one might work better with the green. And this one might work better with a yellow color scheme. Now, I don't know. I'm actually curious to hear from you guys. Do you really get into sort of the subconscious when you guys are working? Because I'm looking at this and I'm really thinking on sort of like abstract conceptual levels. Like I'm looking at this and I'm thinking like what is the like if I strip the figure out completely and it's just blocks of color and I'm trying to think, all right, what does this feel like? What do these shapes and masses of color evoke in a viewer? That's what I'm trying to think about. And it's very possible that it's just like I'm going too deep. I need to just slap some color on it and move on. Hang on, muting again so I can blow my nose. All right. I'm going to go a little bit darker with that blue there. And then we're going to go dark orange here. Bring this down a little bit. Another thing that I found interesting in doing my color studies is that a lot of the color choices that I was making, or not so necessarily the color choices that I was making, but the color choices I was picking up, generally when I am working with color, I will try to change both the hue, yellow, orange, red, blue, green. I will also try to change the value in saturation at any given time. So if I want something to be lighter, if I'm moving from a cool color to a warm color, I will generally also make an intentional decision to, if I want to draw attention, I will also brighten it and make it more saturated. If I want to make something push further into the background, I will lower the value, make it darker, and desaturate it. Because moving everything towards a dark gray will kind of really make things push to the back. But I actually noticed in a lot of comic book colors, when I was just looking purely at the color, a lot of times there were a lot of color changes that were pure hue shifts, meaning the values stayed almost exactly the same. And this saturation really, let's see here. James says, I was having internet connections earlier, but I am here now. Good to have you as always, James. And he said, looks like a monster or something. Yes, these are 3 different color covers for the same comic, my next comic book series. And I'm trying to lock down the colors because I've just been sitting here drawing and redrawing for ages. And at a certain point, it's like I need to like shit or get off the pot, like just get my covers finalized and then move on to drawing the actual interior pages. And it's possible that I am procrastinating on moving to original pages just out of fear. I mean, I tell people don't worry too much about what other people think. Just go and make stuff. And who knows? Maybe, it could be that I am procrastinating because I'm just like afraid to put out something that, what it is that in seeing that perfectionism is holding me back, it means that I have to acknowledge that not everything I put out is going to be perfect. And I don't know if that terrifies me because I think I'm going to be judged. I think it terrifies me because I know that I'm judging it hard. And no matter what, I'm going to, in the back of my mind, say, see, you could have made this better. You should have made this better. What are you doing? Why? Like, I don't ever feel like making art is a waste of time for me. But I also do feel like trying to make something and then being dissatisfied with it, that's kind of a hard one for me to deal with. Let's see here. Jim, my buddy Jim Lujan in the chat, director, creator, writer of the Unicornians, episode 4, now on jimlujan.com, is up in the house. Always good to see you, my brother. Let's see here. And Herman says, hey, G, what are you asking again? Same internet connections also, but please continue. By the way, let me know if things are choppy on my end. I not that I hope that you're having internet problems, but if the same internet connections. Hang on, let me just check. All right, just check and make sure that it wasn't a Discord thing. Yeah. By the way, guys, let me know if there's voice or sound problems on my end, because I'm not sure if you guys are having connection issues or if something's wrong on my end, because it does actually tell me on my screen that my connection is fairly good, but I'm not even on Wi-Fi. It's literally telling me if you're on Wi-Fi, try plugging into a router. I'm like, I am plugged into the router. So I don't know. If things are choppy, I mean, there isn't much that I can do about it, but at least I'll know, and I'll just be prepared for it to be sucky. Let's see here. Jim also says all three look great. I like 3 design wise. Well, good. That is good to know. By the way, this is another thing. I don't know if it means that I'm doing a good job at creating equally same quality of options, but I've kind of gotten to the point where I don't necessarily want to post polls anymore asking people's opinions, because not because I don't want people's opinions, but anytime that, for instance, if I were to take these 3 thumbnails and just posted things saying, hey, which of these 3 thumbnails do you think I should make as the cover for my next comic? What happens is it ends up split. Like if I were to post it on the posts on YouTube, like all the people on YouTube will gravitate towards option A. And then I'll post it on Instagram, and everyone on Instagram will go towards option B. And then I'll post it on Twitter, and everyone will go for option C. And it's like no matter where I post it, like one is a clear winner, but the clear winner is different on every platform. And I'm just like at another point where I'm like, it got to the point where I was sort of frustrated in that I was asking for opinions and people are as divided as I am. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Let's see here. And I see Chris is in the chat. Good to see you, Chris. Thanks for joining us. See here, James says, you're talking about cross contour lines earlier. I should give those a try this week, and I hope that you do. Said, when I was watching Men in Black, the series last week, I noticed the contours on the characters' jaw lines. Well, you know, that is the sign of great character design in animation and film, is that they will design characters and vehicles and shapes and forms so that their patterns and design and decoration also, aside from just looking cool, it will help define the shapes of the surface and where the planes change. So they're using what would normally be cross contour lines. It's like they're putting the style, the deco of that vehicle. Or if a character's got a cool face tattoo, they'll have it so it'll clearly define one side of the face, and then have it either turn underneath the jaw or have it go across the nose, that you get the sense that something is going across the facial plane, up the nose, then parallel to the facial plane, across the nose, and then down. Like that is something that you'll see it on vehicles, buildings, planes, and it's a great way to use the concept of cross contour to enhance really to use decoration to enhance it without actually having something covered with grids. So, but yeah, definitely practice that. I practice it every time I'm sketching. I'll make a drawing and then do cross contours on top of it. Let's see here. Byron says that the audio video quality is fine on his end. Let's see here. And Gary Hodges, Dinosaurs versus Marsbot creator, in the chat, says hello everybody, and hello Gary. Always good to see you. Let's see here. Dylan says, I like 3 also. I like 3 too. All right. Anyway. Just sort of mini blocking in this figure. And as I look at this, I'm going to come back to this middle one, and I'm going to do another version of it because I want to do one where it's mostly very, very high key, like very, very light, and the figure is the darkest part. Because I actually feel like that might express more of the idea of the feeling I want of this image. But I realize I'm getting spending a little bit too much time on that one. So I want to move over to this other one. And as I'm looking at these, I'm starting to get that sense that that might be the way to go for all of these is to go with very, very bright, high key background. Ooh, this could be nice. For the very first one on the left, I'm going to push the color a little bit brighter. I mean, and that kind of lime color is probably too bright to really reproduce. It'll probably be something. Well, we'll see what it's like in CMYK. But I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna both again me going to cooling stuff down while also darkening it. I'm gonna go to a dark green that's slightly bluish tinged. And I'm going to use that for sort of the framing device. So it's going to be light for the background, dark for the jar, and then back to light for Pandora standing in front of it. See what's up in the chats. And Gary says, "Oh, are we voting? I lean towards 3." All right, so multiple people are going towards 3. Yes, actually, I guess we are kind of voting, but I don't know if you heard the part of me saying that when I do ask that I end up getting different responses from different platforms. And I mean, and I do think that there's value in getting feedback from your audience and asking people what they think about stuff before you actually make the thing. I think that it can save you a lot of time and soul searching and questioning. But again, when you try to do that and you end up kind of at the same place that you start, it's not demotivating, but it just makes you question the whole process of how you try to get answers or figure out what is the right way. Now, see, here's the thing. I have yet to get back to doing conventions on a regular basis. But a big part of what I was originally thinking, hopefully, what I was planning for this convention season, which I've basically kind of been eviscerated from, unless I find some shows to do before the end of the year. Was to make prints of the various potential covers and see what prints sold the most. Because if people are willing to buy a print of an image, even if it's not the cover of a comic, I'm like, all right, that's the image I should use as the cover. That was my thinking. Oh, I just realized I'm sitting here painting the whole time. You guys can't see what I'm painting. I left the Gary's comment on there. Sorry about that. Um, let's see here. Herman says, "Dude, I was sketching at work, trying to create a story. I did one sentence, second, 7 panels, and I detailed visual story for each panel. Finally, this, finally, the sketching was trash. Um, yeah. Let's see here. He said, "So I feel you on that. I don't know why I'm drawing like garbage. It makes me not want to do it again, but I'm going to take a shot of it again when I have time at work." I will tell you very much just from doing figure drawing last week, there were two separate evenings where I took my drawings that I'd done from figure drawing class and just sat and redrew those sketches, and it took, I would say, overall a total of something like 4 or 5 hours of sketching to get back to the place where I was happy with what I was sketching. Like, so much of it was just me drawing things and being like, "Oh, no, this isn't working, that isn't working, this is garbage," and just, yes, I was beating myself up, but it was one of those, like, an extended period of I have forgotten how to draw. And my point in telling you that is that if you're frustrated, lean into the frustration, not in the sense of, oh, you should be frustrated, but just feel what you're feeling, look at the things that suck, and go back to your fundamental skills. Go back to the things that you've learned and you studied and said, all right, how do I fix the problems of bad proportion? How do I fix the problems of bad anatomy? How do I fix bad shape language? And just one by one, try those things, and you're going to try them, and the solutions are still going to suck. But it took me 4 hours of just practicing the fundamentals, redrawing sketches from figure drawing class before I got to the point where I was like, oh, okay, I have learned to draw or remembered how to draw again. This figure is too small. I spent all that time blocking in that silhouette, and the proportions are wrong. Let's see here. James said, "I've been thinking how they designed the aliens for that series, the Men in Black, the animated series. It's an instance of coming with something that may not exist. In that case, would you draw from imagination and then use reference?" Well, um, again, this is from somebody who has never worked full time as an artist on an animated series. However, I have been fortunate enough to be involved in the development of an animated series that featured aliens from the writing side. And I am of the mindset that while there's no one pure way to approach it, I find that it's a combination of free sketching with reference. So I don't know how often you use inspiration boards or mood boards, but if you are drawing, let's say you're going to create a bunch of alien species or a particular alien species or just one creature. The way I would do it is I would grab, like, I would make a Pinterest board of images, and I would try to think of a variety of just what are the strangest things that you could combine to make an alien with. So insects. I would grab a bunch of images of insects. I would grab a bunch of images of plant life. I would look up strange animals, porcupines, platypus, you know, any type of creature that is just that looks kind of weird. Sea creatures, octopi, deep sea creatures. In fact, there's a book I have specifically for that I keep as reference for creature design called um I think it's called Creatures of the Deep or Aliens of the Deep. But it's just how the deeper in the ocean you go, the book is organized, the chapters are by fathoms, like how far down the water you go. And the deeper you go, the stranger the creatures get. Um, and I would just create a mood board of all of these. By the way, perfect for the chat. I noticed, okay, Gary's here. I was about to say, let's see what Gary has to say. He already started chiming in. He said, I'm going to be drawing lots of different aliens in my next book and trying to be realistic. I'm looking for inspirations in plants, fungi, abstract shapes, sea creatures. See, I hadn't even read that. Gary's already doing exactly what I was talking about. He said, basically anything not even remotely human. So, but in reference to James' specific question, it's a combination of first just grabbing a bunch of resources to sketch from and just have them up there, not to copy a particular insect, not to copy a shark or a sea creature, but just to look at them while you doodle, just drawing a shit ton of creatures and shapes. And maybe not even drawing whole creatures, but just like body parts, limbs, drawing different types of creatures and saying, well, what would the torso look like if, like Gary mentioned, fungi? You can look at cellular, you could just look up cellular structures for blank, and maybe it's plant life, maybe it's sharks, but looking at things that are microscopic level, or like looking at bacteria, images of bacteria, and you just start building versions and ideas of them. And let's say that you fill up, I don't know, 3 or 4 pages of sketches of just different shapes. In the process of doing that, you'll get a sense of which ones you gravitate towards. And then out of your free sketching, you maybe create one shape where you try to narrow it down to the particular creature you're designing or set of creatures you're designing. And from there, you may go in and say, you know what? All right, this creature's skin is like the rough textured skin of a shark. And so you might go back to your reference board and say, do I have any images of sharks in here? Do I have any images that show me the detailed texture of a shark's skin? And you might go in and look for more reference of the particular details you're going to do. And in fact, there's a thing. In fact, let's do this live right now. And hopefully, this does not end up being something that I really regret, because I always am like, when I move out of the drawing and move into looking up stuff online during a live stream, that could be that way lies madness. But let's go to images. Google. Let's go shark skin. Okay. So let's say okay. Paste this on top. So there's shark skin. I'm going to just pick 4 things. Well, let's pick 3 or 4 things real quick. Let's say gold. Let's see here, liquid gold. And let's say Spider, because that's always good. I don't want to look up spider bite. Let's grab this little guy. And one more. Let's say, I don't know, soap bubbles. And this seems very, very random, and it's supposed to be because I want these materials to be as different as possible. So the point of me pasting all of these random elements in here for some reason it's not copying. Screw it. Let's pick a different soap bubble. And if this one doesn't copy, then we'll just move on. All right, there we go. So the reason for grabbing all of these random images, and I think it'll make more sense if I move over to the image that's on the right. The point of this is once you've already sort of thumbnailed out kind of what you want your creature to be, you go back to the reference. So it's like you've already decided what you wanted. The original set of reference was just to give you inspiration to sketch and build. Once you're getting a better sense of the creature that you want, and you've actually sort of blocked them out, that's why I moved over to this image on the right, because you may actually have because now this implies, let's say you've sort of roughed out and sketched a creature. Then what you might do is you would say, okay, I want to maybe have it have spider eyes. Hang on, let me go with a smaller brush. Spider eyes and maybe bristles around the mouth that are similar to like the spider fangs. Maybe you decide you want a shark's tooth texture for the claws. Maybe it has like an iridescent slime that it breathes out into the air. And hell, all right, gold teeth. Why not? Gold teeth. Point being is that you can use reference at every stage to sort of help you figure out what you really want to build this creature to be. Now, in terms of using photographic textures and images, this is something that works better more for concept art, video games, animation, because if you're building the creature in CG, once you texture map it, it's like that's the texture of that thing. You don't have to redraw it every single time. If you're making a comic book, this is maybe a bit of overkill, because Once you lay in all of these images, then you have to decide, well, how am I going to render this in every panel of every page of the comic? Which you want to keep that in mind in terms of character design in general, is also you don't want to design a costume or a creature or a character that is so difficult, so complex that every single page is going to take you 15 hours. That's a bad idea. Don't do that. I mean, a great example is to look at the work of Alex Toth. You know, he moved from comics into working in animation. And if you look at like his Super Friends work and how sleek and stylized and slimmed down his characters are, I think when you look at his work beyond main characters with incidental characters, the idea of him designing creatures and characters that have enough of an interesting shape design and enough of interesting details to stand out, to feel unique, but at the same time, not so much detail that it's going to be difficult to animate for the animators. You know, there's a certain level of economy of detail that is necessary for animation. And this is speaking for someone who has been animation adjacent, never worked full time in animation. The most I did was when I was an intern at Nickelodeon when I was in college. So let me scroll back to the comments. Let's see here. And by the way, we are getting to almost the top of the hour. So we are just about done with this stream. So if people have some last minute questions after I finish, I'm going to go through the comments and just chat for a little bit. In fact, I'm going to put the pen down, take my time, go through the rest of the comments. And then if there's anything else that I need to sketch out or do, I can do that. And then we'll wrap up. Point being is that if you got some final questions or thoughts, now's the time to do them. If you haven't hit the like button, time to hit that. For new viewers, hit that subscribe button. Come back for talk like this about creative process and being out in the artistic wilderness wilds and trying to bundle up. We're all huddling naked for artistic warmth out in the savage wildness that is the world. Let's see here. Herman says, when I'm off tomorrow, I'll spend about 2 hours practice and dive into some figure drawing. Also, book focus. I just got Alex Toth animation book and James Gurney's book on painting. Yeah, I don't have any of the Alex Toth books. I have a bunch of Alex Toth comics, but I know that they have the Genius illustrated and Genius animated. Those are both amazing. I do have some of his animation book in a Hanna-Barbera treasury. There's a book on Hanna-Barbera animation that I have, and that has some of his model sheets for Space Ghost and some of his other comics. But yeah, I mean, the James Gurney, I have both color and light and imaginative realism, and both of those are great references. So you're going to have some fun studying from those. And in fact, the main problem I find with James Gurney's books is that he's got too much information. Like literally each page is like a full class. And you could literally spend the rest of your life studying that book, which I probably will. Byron says, a big thing to also understand is that while life can be weird, there's always a function. As long as you can keep function in mind, you can get as weird as you want while maintaining believability. Right on. That on the nose, Byron. Nice. Yes, very, very true. And I neglected to mention that. Yeah, form definitely should follow function. And you can create some really interesting designs by combining function into a form that you wouldn't suspect it. When you can combine those things in a surprising manner, that's when you get really innovative character and creature design. Herman says, hey, Jeremy, maybe swap color schemes for 2 and 3. Depends on what you're going for color-wise in the image. Yeah, you know what? I mean, that was something that I was mentioning earlier, is that I could very easily... No, I don't want to group that. Let's group this. Yeah, I could very easily... I'd started by swapping... I think the one on the right was the green and the one on the left was the yellow. And I swapped those two. I think you may be right with the green, but what I'm also going to try is I'm going to try this where I'm going to do the same thing. It was looking at this image that made me think I should make the background very bright and then make the jar dark and then make the figure a bright silhouette on standing on top of the dark background, framing them. And I realized looking at this one, this really looks like an image where the background should be very, very bright, like flooded with light, as opposed to standing on a dark background. So maybe I'll try swapping the colors, but I'm definitely going to try it where instead of it being very, very dark blue, I'm going to make it like a white, like almost electric blue. So we're gonna play with this. It's a work in. Oh, damn it! I did again. I left the comments on instead of while I was talking. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna come through and play with all of these, both in terms of color and value. That's literally the point of what I'm doing here is to try and lock down what I want to do, color and value wise. Let's see here. Herman says, dramatic, scary, or positive light. I don't know. You said you're pushing it, Jeremy. Looks like your computer is coughing a little bit. All these high res images. Oh, maybe it's the stream might be stuttering a little bit. I apologize for that. Yeah. Well, I mean, also I've got Discord running in the background, which I usually have not done in the past, and the combination of Discord with the live stream with me drawing, like it might be a lot. So that sucks. Maybe I can't have the Discord open while I'm live streaming. I don't know. We'll have to see. And Chris says we should all collaborate. Well, hell, maybe we can do a piece on Magma. Like I said, I'm gonna try and once a month do a drawing jam, and maybe it'll be the Exquisite Corpse. Maybe it can just be us just sitting and drawing together. We can look at different ways to do fun jam experiments. And I'm open to comments. I mean, I'm open to suggestions. So if anybody has ideas for fun ways to do a jam drawing, a fun way to do the theme, besides just doing the Exquisite Corpse, let me know. I'm open to it. You can leave it both of the comments here, and you can also just comment on the video in general, and I'll see it. Yeah, Herman says, like what, Chris? What have you got in mind? I'm curious. Let's see here. James says, right, you're not going to see the details when a character is in the distance. Well, you know what? Part of it, yes, it's true. You're not going to see the details when it's in the distance. But even when you're close up, if we're talking about something that you are drawing in a comic book, or if you're animating, in both instances, because of the number of drawings taken needed to make it work, that's you can't have something that's overly detailed. Go back to the first Michael Bay Transformers movie, and I mean, for me, I had a hard time enjoying. I mean, like I did enjoy that movie, but it was hard to enjoy the Transformers themselves because anytime they were in robot mode, there were just so many parts and things hanging out. I was like, that's too much. You need to pare it down a little bit. Like, you can't have like every bolt and manifold and exhaust pipe coming out and all of it shiny and stuff sticking out everywhere. It's like it's visually too much. Like, you kind of got to streamline those characters a little bit. And yes, in the cartoon, they were streamlined because people were animating them. But when you're doing it in CG or in video games where you can have as much detail or as detailed a character as you want, if the character is just a visual mess and you don't know what parts to look at, and it starts to hurt your eyes to look at them. And mind you, the only one of the live action Transformers movies I've seen is the first one. So it may be possible that they have improved on the designs as they've gone and they've learned to streamline them and refine them. So I'm speaking without having full knowledge because I don't know what they're like there's like 5 or 6 movies plus the Bumblebee movie at this point. And I haven't gone to see those because a lot of people just told me that they go downhill from the first one. So I don't know. I mean, I was kind of curious to watch the Dinobots one. So that's neither here nor there. That's just the thing in terms of what James was saying. It's not, yes, in the distance, you're not going to see a lot of detail, but balancing how much detail a character has is more than just a matter of how near or far they are from them. It is designing a pleasurable experience for your viewer or reader. Let's see here. And Herman says, "Yo, I said the same thing about James Gurney. It's a killer. It's a killer to read. Literally, I think I do better just watching his techniques. I'm more of a visual learner." Um, I get that. I enjoy his videos as well, but I'm a book learner where I like to just sit down with a book next to me and just draw. Kind of the way that I was talking about, the way that I'll use reference, or I'll use a mood board or an inspiration board. I'm the same way with books, where I will sit down with an art book, lay it out there, and I'll start working through the problems or the examples they're showing there, and then drawing my own thumbnails of those examples and working on my own visual solutions of those ideas. Let's see here. Herman says, use positive and negative, black and white, then add color with color mode. I didn't know you had it on maybe Discord next week. No worries, no worries. But yeah, I mean, I've in the past have mostly worked in black and white and then color the pieces over. And I'm trying to intentionally do thumbnails in color just to practice and improve my sense of color. So we'll see. I'm always playing with different ideas. We shall see. It is an ongoing work in progress, and it's an ongoing work in progress that I'm sharing with you guys as I'm doing it. And on that note, okay, guys. So thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching, all the great comments and feedback. If you enjoy these live streams, we'd like to get additional bonus live streams twice a month. You can become a Patreon subscriber for as little as $2 a month. Head over to patreon.com/Jeremy. It's patreon.com/GERIMI. You also get access to our Patreon exclusive Discord server where we share encouragement, works in progress, feedback, more of just this ongoing conversation we're having now, just having that throughout the week. You also get access to the voice channel on Discord, which I usually have open in case anyone wants to pop in and say hi during the live streams. So you get access to that as well. If you would like to get a free digital sketchbook, work in progress animated GIFs, blog posts about what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what's inspiring me creatively, you can sign up for my free newsletter at substack.com/@Jeremy. And if you'd like to purchase physical copies of my comic books, or if you read digitally on Kindle, you can go to amazon.jeremy.net. I'll forward you to my Amazon author page. You can pick up books like my first graphic novel, Eye of the Gods. It is a standalone psychological thriller about a man cursed with visions he cannot control. Or my most recent comic book series, Morning Star. It is a retelling of Lucifer's fall from heaven as a Western. It's an 8-issue series. Volume 1 contains issues 1 through 4. Volume 2 contains issues 5 through 8. Both have extensive back matter, character designs, thumbnails, script excerpts, photo reference. I basically show you how I put the entire comic book together. So you can get all of that in each of these. And if you go to the homepage of my YouTube channel and scroll down to flip throughs, there are book flip throughs for all those books. You can see what's inside before you pick them up. All right, guys. Again, thank you for all the comments. Thank you for hanging out. Like I said, for the next couple of months, my schedule is going to be erratic. Sometimes I'll be streaming on whenever I'm capable of sticking to Sundays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard, I will. But I hope you'll bear with me if you see me randomly live streaming on a Tuesday or Wednesday evening, or in the middle of an afternoon, or at like noon on a Thursday, just whatever it is. I'm going to try and continue at least doing a weekly live stream once a week, but bear with me. By the end of summer, things will be back to normal. Life is complicated. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate all the comments, feedback, and hanging out with you guys. That's it for now. Go be creative.